Okay, boys and girls, here we are. It's just coming up now on the Broadcast Film Critics Society Awards, and also known as Critics' Choice. And there's not a ton of stuff going on here, at least, that I don't think everybody else is predicting here. That I'm not really going off on too many wild tangents, I don't think, here, but we'll see. Okay, so it's the show is this Sunday. I'm just getting these done and out of the way here because I have a pretty busy weekend, and I'll be back up at the other location there by the time we get back. And I think the Oscar race will all wrap up once I'm back up. This is the last time you'll see this boring background. You'll get the other boring background in a little bit here. Okay, so most of the time, Critics' Choice is just kind of one of those, I don't want to say filler awards, but, kind of one that's kind of taken for granted a little bit. It's just, just another award show. It doesn't have the precedence of something like SAG or even, some would argue the Golden Globes. And again, there's not a lot of voter overlap here with Critics' Choice as there is at, especially at SAG, and BAFTA gets some overlap there too. And of course, the Guild Awards definitely overlap. But I think, especially a lot of the top categories this year, a lot of these competitors, a lot of these nominees, there's not a lot of easy bets right now as far as who's going to win. In fact, I think none of the four acting categories at this point seem very set. It seems like there's at least two or three options in each category for the acting races. And there's not 100, but there's a lot of different ways those can go. Director right now seems pretty solid, and film is another one that can go a lot of different ways. So at this point, I think a lot of those nominees and a lot of these films and studios and everybody are saying, we'll just take anything we can. So this year, Critics' Choice especially might seem a little more important than, last year, where it just really overlapped with everything the Globes did, and then pretty much everything else, I think, went on from those and followed suit. So yeah, so let's go through here. Again, we're not going to talk about those shitty, best actor in an action movie and best action movie and best comedy film. Yeah, we're not going to get into those crappy filler categories. I don't even know, because I always get really ticked off, by the way, at the TV presentation on these every year, because there's always key categories like screenplay and stuff that they don't broadcast. So I can't see Spike Lee or whoever, not to give too much away, but, that's who I'm predicting would adapted screenplay, him and the other trio that wrote Black Klansman. It's just, I don't know. It's like you want to see what they have to say. They're the screenwriters. They're a very key, essential part of the process. But no, we have to sit back and watch fucking actor in an action movie. That gets televised, or at least most of the time it does. Actor in a comedy film always gets televised. It's like, good Lord, give us, the essential stuff. But anyways, enough of that. Let's just get into the predictions here. So we're going to start with the visual effects category. This is the only win I have for the night for Black Panther. I think Black Panther will take this. I think it'll probably be, like the Oscars, the only one it wins there, at least right now is what I'm saying. We do have, traditionally we see films like that are more in the Best Picture type than Black Panther, even though I do think, yes, Black Panther will be a Best Picture contender. It is up here for Best Film on Sunday. Typically we'll see stuff like First Man. That's one of the nominees here. So there is an off chance that that they just want to go, with the more traditional stuff. But I think everybody likes Black Panther. They want to see it win something. So, yeah, so I think Black Panther wins that. Original song, this should be an easy one. Shallow from Star is Born. Yeah, easy. It's a good way to give Lady Gaga and her songwriters and helpers there the win, and it's definitely one for Star is Born easily, yeah. Original score, there could be a passion vote here for other stuff, but I'm going with the Globe winner, First Man, on this too. I was originally predicting First Man of the Globes too, but then I thought about it, and I'm like, well, they really like to spread the wealth. They'll give Mary Poppins something, but nope, it was First Man. So yeah, Mary Poppins and definitely Beale Street are, Nicholas Patel, the composer on that, definitely are the passion votes here, but I think if they want to give Beale Street anything, they'll give it something later on. We'll get to that. So I think First Man will take that one. Next up is the makeup and hairstyling category. I have that one going to Vice. And this is one, I'm still predicting Christian Bale to win that Oscar right now, and it's very much going to line up the way that Darkest Hour and Iron Lady did, where the makeup wins and the physical transformation that the actor does, whoever that role is, they win an Oscar too in their respective category. That happened with, of course, Gary Oldman and Meryl Streep both. So I think Christian Bale right now is who I'm predicting will follow suit with that. So they will in turn give that makeup award to Vice. The favorite is also up in this category. That could win. I don't quite see him going, just looking at the other nominees here, I don't see him going with Black Panther, which is up. I don't see him going with Mary Queen of Scots quite, but, they're definitely, glad they were recognized and stuff. The other ones, yeah, I don't think Suspiria or Bohemian are going to play for this one either. Let's see. So yeah, Vice, I have that one taking that one. Production design, I have going to the favorite. Yeah, I think that's really the only one in that race that they'll go for. Costume design, I'm also picking the favorite there. It does go head to head with another kind of pre-20th century costume drama, Mary Queen of Scots. So that leaves room, potentially for something like a Black Panther to upset there. But I don't think so. I think they'll go with the favorite there, and I think these two categories will also go to the favorite on Oscar night, and definitely a BAFTA too. Yeah, easily, especially since Black Panther is not competing in those categories over there. Film editing is up next. This is this is one that really is a tight race. When you look at just to name off the competitors here in this category, let's see here. I've got it's Roma, First Man, Vice, A Star Is Born, Widows, and The Favorite. I think Widows is going to be the only non-player there. I think the rest of them legitimately have a shot to win this award. Roma definitely, because a lot of the time the editors especially and voters in the Academy, they love when you have the long takes like Roma had and like Gravity had, where those long takes cut together and stuff. They always get really impressed with that. I don't know why. It's just a simple editing job, but it is Cuarón who's a co-editor on this, so it could be his first Critics' Choice win of the night. You've also got, The Favorite is one that I think technically, a lot of the technical noms and stuff, that could just go right through. I don't think it can win them all. It's not going to go on a tech category sweep the way that something like a Mad Max does, or like Gravity did a few years ago. I don't think we're quite going that way with The Favorite, but I think it's in the fight. Vice is definitely in there. It's Hank Corwin. He was nominated for Big Short. They really like that kind of jumpy editing style that Big Short had, and Vice definitely has. And then you got Star Is Born, which is the film that I have pegged to win Best Film here at Critics' Choice. Sometimes that editing and film like to line up. We actually haven't seen it happen at the Oscars for a while here. We have to go back to, I think, 12 years, or Argo. Excuse me, Argo, I think, was the last one to win both. Because Spotlight wasn't there, and it wasn't obviously Moonlight didn't win that one either. And last year was not Shape of Water. So yeah, you have to go back 6 years before that editing and picture lineup. But traditionally, they do like to line those up. You can even go back to Rocky and stuff like that winning in this category. And then the other one is First Man, and First Man is like the most editing. And First Man definitely, it's Tom Cross. He's won a few Critics Prizes before, definitely for Whiplash, and was nominated and won a few for La La Land as well. So his name's familiar, and it's also the most editing, and sometimes the most editing wins. So I'm picking Roma here, just kind of on that assumption there that they'll go back to that the liking of taking all those long takes together and all that. And plus, it's, when you look at the actual critics' scores on this, on like Rotten Tomatoes and comparatives and stuff, Roma is above everybody else. So I think that kind of helped me pick Roma there. Cinematography, Roma, yeah, that's easy. That'll be Cuarón's, at least his first one there, if he doesn't win editing. Foreign language film, also Roma. That's going to be an easy one. I think I don't see him deviating from that. Okay, animated feature. After the Globes went for Spider-Man, I'm going to stick with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse for the rest of the season here, yeah. I just don't really, it's the shiny new toy in this category, especially we see sometimes the animated films that hit later in the year tend to stick around and stuff, but yeah, this is definitely one that I think they'll go for. The next category is acting ensemble. This is actually a tougher one for me too. I think other than I think Widows is also in this category too. Yeah, I don't think Widows is really going to be a major player here Sunday, excuse me. But the other four have a legit shot because you've got Crazy Rich Asians and Black Panther in there. Both of those are nominated for the SAG Ensemble Award. The Favorite and Vice, I think, probably were more apt to be nominated in that category. But I did include Black Panther in my predictions, and I had it at a long time. Crazy Rich Asians, but I took it out, unfortunately, at the wrong moment. Um, but I think I'm going to go Crazy Rich Asians on this one, actually. You've got The Favorite in there, which I think is going to pick up, a few of those tech categories and stuff. I think they're going to feel like we've got given that one enough. I don't quite see him going with Black Panther for ensemble. I mean, it's a good ensemble. It's a good number of people in it and everything too. But I'm just not feeling that one. And then you got Vice in there, which again has quite a big ensemble there and a lot of things there. But I think they're again like The Favorite. They have a couple other categories in mind for that one. So Crazy Rich Asians, in the meantime, is likely not going to win anything else it's up for outside of those, potentially those actor and a comedy. But they don't care about those either. So I think if they want to give it a major televised award, which is acting ensemble, and it is, as it's been really heavily talked about here through the last few months, the first major all Asian American or Asian cast that has been in a major Hollywood motion picture, and I think there's definitely a thing to celebrate there, and I think that's something that they have in mind, and are it's kind of forefront in their minds. So I think they're going to go Crazy Rich Asians here. Okay, next up, the screenplay categories. Adapted screenplay, I'm going to go with Black Klansman here, not Black Panther, excuse me, Black Klansman. Yeah, I think it's really, I mean, it's not going to face too much competition here. I mean, Beale Street, again, you could have some passion votes for Beale Street, but yeah, I think there's not enough for there. And I don't see Star is Born taking this either, but traditionally your Best Picture winner also is a big player for screenplay, but screenplay, it's okay for that movie. I don't see the Critics' Choice going for it for screenplay, but yeah. Okay, original screenplay up next. I am gonna go. I think most of the odds favors are putting their bets on The Favorite here, but I'm gonna go with the Golden Globe winner Green Book, and this is actually kind of similar to the Black Panther argument here. This is the only award I have Green Book winning on Sunday night. I think it's up for film drama. Excuse me. It's up for film. It's up for director. It's up for a couple acting prizes and stuff. They'll want to give it something major, and I think original screenplay is the place where they're going to give it. And plus, it also won at the Globes. Was a little bit of an upset there. So yeah. So I think Critics' Choice is going to follow suit there. Okay, now to the acting prizes here. I think for right now, I'm going to stick with that Sylvester Stallone argument with Regina King winning here, where Stallone won at the Globe and then he won at Critics' Choice right after, and it seemed like it was going to be his race to lose, but I think yeah, there's a lot of different ways again that supporting actors category can go, and there's even a question now, since Regina did miss SAG and BAFTA, two of the later nominations period there. She could, miss for the Oscar, but I think it's a film I think that enough Oscar voters are watching or have watched, and I think it's one that comes from a popular director, more favorite director of theirs of late, and Regina has been all over the place lately with all sorts of Emmy wins and all that stuff. So I think this is going to be hers to lose on Sunday. If they don't go with her, then I think we go with somebody like, who would they go with next? I would say probably if they want to give The Favorite an acting award, I think next in line is actually Rachel Weisz from The Favorite. And then I think I'm going to go with Amy Adams, because I think Vice is, critically speaking, pretty divisive among the critics. I think it's hanging right around the 60% range, actually, on Rotten Tomatoes. So there are definitely people on the Critics' Choice, I'm sure, voting body and stuff that weren't fans of Vice. So they kind of, they're like, okay, yeah, we'll give it this and this, but we're not, yeah, that's it. So I think there's enough people in there, I think, that on the voting body and stuff, they'll want to say, well, let's go with something else, instead of Amy Adams there. But again, if Amy wins this over Regina, and then she wins SAG, and then, potentially BAFTA too, then I think she's unstoppable. But, the same argument you can make for Rachel Weisz, because she's another one she's been nominated everywhere like Amy has. So, yeah. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be Regina, but Rachel next, and then Amy, I think, are the other two that can take her down. But, yeah, I'm going to stick with Regina. Okay, for supporting actor, I'm sticking with my Oscar pick right now, and that's Richard E. Grant for Can You Ever Forgive Me? Again, going back to that argument of, wanting to give everything something, Can You Ever Forgive Me is one. It's been in the conversation for a while now. Obviously I think Melissa McCarthy and Grant early on were picks to be nominated in the acting categories. But it kind of has risen up now, and it looks like it's a really solid bet to be nominated for adapted screenplay. I know early on I was, or I shouldn't say early on, but a couple months ago even I was predicting Can You Ever Forgive Me to get into that picture race too. But it seems like that's not going to happen. But I feel like it's a film that was very well critically received, has done respectably at the box office for its limited runs. So I think they're going to give it something, and that would be most likely place is going to be Richard E. Grant here for supporting actor, and he's you look at it too. It's a very charismatic. You could even argue it's a career-defining performance for him, and he's won a whole bunch of critics groups. And with his, the competitor he's going to have to look out for, though, of course, is Mahershala Ali for Green Book, and that is a way to award Green Book another major prize with supporting actor. And obviously, I get that argument, and Mahershala did just win the Globe. Again, we go back to that argument, though, that I've had with him the whole time, where I've been a little hesitant to put him out front, and that's the fact that he just won 2 years ago, and it was a memorable win. It was one he didn't win the whole thing; it wasn't a complete sweep across the season because he lost BAFTA and he lost at the Globes that year to a couple other competitors. But I feel like, again, when you look at down the history there's not a huge history of actors winning multiple awards here at Critics' Choice, especially in short succession. It's not like the Globes who like to give, who gave Amy Adams 2 Globes in a row, back-to-back years. Doesn't quite happen here at Critics' Choice. The same argument with Jennifer Lawrence, where she won 2 years back-to-back and then won another one 2 years later. So she won 3 and 4 years. So Critics' Choice doesn't really like to do that. So obviously Mahershala, I think, is in second place there, and he's definitely in the hunt, and it's legit two-way race. But yeah, I think they'll go Richard E. Grant here for that. And plus, we've been talking about it a little bit with Green Book having a few backlashes, and some of those backlashes and some of those complaints about the film really started with critical reviews and stuff. So that it is Critics' Choice. So yeah, so that all that factor together pushes me toward Mahershala winning this. Okay, for lead actress, I'm again going to stick with the Globe thing. I'm going Glenn Close for this one. But again, this is a three-way race. Lady Gaga is still in play. Olivia Colman is definitely in play here too. But I'm giving the edge to Close here. And I feel like the wife again was one some critics were split on. Me personally, I thought it was okay. Her performance I actually thought was decent, but maybe not among the best of the year. But definitely, it's kind of a crimes against humanity to think that Glenn Close would go to her grave, God willing, 20, 30 years from now, without an Oscar win. So it feels like, this is just another stepping stone for her, definitely. And, plus, like I said, I have Star is Born winning film. Typically in the Best Picture race, we tend to see the Best Picture winner take home an acting race. That hasn't happened. That didn't happen last year with Shape of Water. Moonlight took Mahershala Ali. Spotlight didn't take anybody. Birdman didn't take anybody. 12 Years a Slave took an acting win. So, it's been on and off through through recent history. But, yeah, I'm just not quite sure if Gaga can pull it off here. That's, I thought she definitely had a much better chance at the Globes, and she couldn't even win there. So, yeah. And then, there is a chance here, and I kind of talked about this a few videos ago, but it's like, what if something happened like, okay, Glenn Close won the Globe. Let's say for, just hypothetical here, Lady Gaga wins on Sunday for Best Actress for Star is Born, and then Olivia Colman wins at SAG. Then we're really screwed. Then we don't know what way they're going to go, because BAFTA, I think, would then line up with Olivia Colman, because they love that movie over there, and I think they'll want to give it at least one of those acting races for the trio of favorite actresses. So, and I think it, could easily win film or British film or both over there as well. So if we see this huge surge late in the game at BAFTA for the favorite, I think that then puts the odds in Olivia Colman's favor, and SAG has a, pretty good track record for getting those top categories right. Until recently, when Casey Affleck won for Best Actor, that was the first time SAG had been wrong with that particular category in close to a decade. So, or actually over a decade, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, I think you have to go, before that, you had to go back to Adrian Brody. He did not win at SAG, but still won the Oscar. I think it was something close to that. So, yeah, and in the top two categories there at SAG, they got Emma Stone right, they got Frances McDormand right. They got Brie Larson right. I believe they picked Julianne Moore. When was the last time they were wrong? Actually, they picked Jennifer Lawrence. I remember. Um, I'm pretty sure they went with Kate Blanchett too. So they've been right, and going back 6 years, I think it was probably further back than that. Even I think last time they were wrong actually, yeah, it was The Help with Viola Davis winning there, and then Meryl pulling it out at the Oscars. So yeah, so they've been right. It's been close to almost a decade now since they've gotten Best Actress wrong, but it's 6 7 years, however many it's been now. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah, the bottom line is I'm going with Glenn Close here on Sunday. Really just off of the momentum of the Globes, and again, that speech that she gave at the Globes. I think, arguably you could look back and say that's the moment that the Oscar was hers to lose. So yeah. Okay, Best Actor, another competitive category here, and this is again a legit three-way race. You've got the three. I think it comes down to is Bradley Cooper, Star is Born, Rami Malek for Bohemian Rhapsody, and Christian Bale for Vice. Yeah. Both Bale and Malek won the Globe there. Bradley Cooper did not. But I think, actually, I'm going to put, if we're ranking the three, I actually have Rami Malek in third. Even though, yeah, he was the Globe winner and everything, there was a huge lack of support here at Critics' Choice for Bohemian Rhapsody. They did not, one thing we know for sure that's not going to repeat at Globes is that film drama winner, because Bohemian was not in the 10 films selected as Best Picture nominees here at Critics' Choice. So we know that one for sure is not going to repeat. And I just don't know if Critics' Choice overall is going to give anything to Bohemian. I don't. I mean, I don't see it winning any of the tech categories. I can't remember if they classified it in that comedy race or not for like actor in a comedy and all. I don't think so. Yeah. And even though I think, critically speaking on Bohemian, a lot of people didn't like the movie. Some of them didn't like it for reasons doing with the story. Some of them just didn't like it because of the director attached, which, yeah, I poo-pooed on that a long time ago. But I think there's most everybody, though, I think at the very least, liked Rami Malek's performance. There's a lot of critics, I think, have named it one of the best performances of the year. So I think there will be votes for him, sure. But I just don't know if the film itself has enough support behind it. However, on the contrary point, though, if he does win Sunday, I think that signals that this race is over and that's just going to be Rami from here on out. And I think he's clearly going to be in second or first place, depending on how SAG goes. He's definitely going to be in the top two there, at least right now he seems to be. If Christian Bale wins this, then I think, yeah, then again, that might be a signal of, okay, it looks like Bale's going to take it. And at the same time, then you have Cooper in there too. And Cooper, I think if he, after losing the Globe, if he wins here at Critics' Choice, then I don't know what to do with SAG. Then there's an argument for everybody, because Cooper only has one. He was with the ensemble of American Hustle. That's how he has a SAG win there. Christian Bale also falls in that category, but he also won for The Fighter. Rami Malek, I believe, I don't think he's been in an ensemble that's won yet, at the very least. And I don't think he has any SAG wins for TV. I don't think so, at least. But I'm going to double check that actually right now. I don't want to get that wrong here. So let me go up to his SAG record here. He was nominated individually for Mr. Robot. Both for the first, I forget how long that show's been on. If it's only been 2 seasons or 3 or however many it's been here, but yeah, he was nominated for at least, I think it was seasons 1 and 2. If I got the math right on that. And then he has 2 nominations technically because he's part of the cast, of course, of Bohemian Rhapsody at SAG. So I don't know. That ensemble category at SAG is another tricky one right now. I'm not sure what to do with it. If I just want to follow suit and go with Star is Born, because I have that winning pretty much best film everywhere else except BAFTA for the most part. Or if they might go with, because Bohemian, I could see that losing actor to Christian Bale, or, Rami Malek losing actor to Christian Bale, and then they give it ensemble to give Rami something, and the rest of the cast something, because they like the movie so much. There's so many things that can happen at SAG. But anyways, back to this, though. I think, yeah, that's what puts Rami in third place, is the fact that the film just does not quite have enough support, I think, behind it. So that leaves Cooper and Bale. And I think Cooper has a chance to win. As I said, I have him winning for best film. He would pick up a Critics' Choice win there as a producer on the film. So that's the way to acknowledge him. Even though I do think that's for my personal taste this year. Man, I don't know who I prefer more because Cooper is phenomenal. Unfortunately this year, I think a lot of people have been talking about Cooper's directorial performance more than his acting performance this year. I think his directorial performance. Sorry, it was if it's just me, but 60 directors could have done what he did directorially on that film. I'm sorry, there was nothing to me, nothing special about the direction of that film. What was special about that film, to me at least, from him, was the performance. How the way he dug in that role, I thought was fantastic, and I think it is arguably, you know, again I'd have to think about it a while longer, but I could argue that's the best performance of his career too. So you've got all that going toward him too, but I just think another thing too, going back to the Globe speeches thing, when you look at because both Bale and Rami Malek won there. Bale's acceptance speech was definitely the one I think that people are still talking about, the one that was more memorable of that night. Now, Rami's speech I think was, had its moments definitely, and there were some laughs in there, and there were some genuine, thanks and all that. But I feel like his, just didn't quite land and was as quite memorable as Christian Bale standing up there thanking Satan. That's something that gets attention and gets you on the talk show reels in the morning and stuff. But yeah, so I think that's another reason too why I think Bale, especially for the rest of these award shows, if they're really paying attention to the speeches and to the attention they get and stuff, I think they'll go with Bale too. That definitely puts the win in his corner at least, and that's my opinion at least. Maybe if you liked Rami's speech a little better, okay, good. But I don't know. I tend to side with Bale on that. But anyways, best director, I think after Spike Lee's loss at the Globes, again, I don't know if it's game over for him at the Oscars and DGA going forward, but I can see BAFTA definitely lining up and picking Cuarón over Spike Lee, even though God damn it, even though Black Klansman is up for best film over there, I think Cuarón wins here at Critics' Choice too. But I think and then I think DGA is going to be the deciding vote there. I think if Cuarón loses DGA to Spike Lee, then I think the race gets completely flipped over, and then there's a shot that BAFTA ends up going with Spike Lee to line up with it, and then the Oscar also goes to Spike Lee. But you also make the argument, and it's actually some people would say it's a fair argument, but I don't think so, because Spike Lee's already going to pick up a win for adapted screenplay for Black Klansman, if we've got that right. I think we do. But Cuarón is already going to have 2 Critics' Choice wins tomorrow night. Or why do I keep saying tomorrow night? I'm sorry, guys. Sunday night. He's already going to have 2 wins, if I'm right, with editing and with cinematography. So he's going to walk away with 3 wins maximum there. I don't see it winning Best Picture, but I think Roma is definitely in second place for that race. And if it does take home Best Picture, then he's got 4. And I'm like, I think they like to spread it out a little bit more. Now, sure, you make the argument at the Oscars, the year of Birdman and stuff, when you had Wes Anderson, Richard Linklater, and Iñárritu, all were major players with their films. The 3 categories where you could have split it up and said, okay, well, if Birdman wins picture, then you give Iñárritu an Oscar there. Linklater wins director, there's his Oscar. And Anderson wins screenplay, there's his Oscar. They didn't do that year. All 3 of them went to Iñárritu. So, I get that argument, definitely. But I just think, for the fairness aspect of it, just because Spike Lee is winning in screenplay doesn't mean that automatically frees you up to say, but it's unfair that he would win screenplay and then director. No, Cuarón's already got 2 wins, if I've got that right, in the tech categories. They might not be televised wins, but they're wins. I mean, it's not like because it's not televised he doesn't get them. It's not like they're not televised, that doesn't mean they don't count. It's like, hey, yeah, he gets them. So, anyways, but yeah, I think there's no way I don't think that Alfonso loses on Sunday night for Roma, though, for director, personally. But, yeah. Okay, we've already, buried the lead with us. But yeah, I think Best Picture goes to Star is Born. Again, I think Roma is in second place. It's, critically speaking, I think arguably the best reviewed film of the year, depending on what sites you use and your parameters and all that. It's definitely, I think, if I looked over, not every film that came out last year, but on the Rotten Tomatoes average score thing, whatever, I think it was like 9 point something out of 10, which is higher than anything else I saw. So, so I think, yeah, that obviously there's an argument there, and plus Roma's already going to have 4 wins, if I'm correct, with director, foreign language, and then the 2 tech categories there, like we've mentioned, cinematography and editing. So it could go 5, and they could just go with an even or kind of rounded number there for the number of wins. But that's I think the other argument to make there. Otherwise, yeah, I think it's just those two that are going to come down to. But and I know it sounds weird because you look back on it, I only have Star is Born winning song and picture, which is weird. But I think that's a good kind of representation of where we are this year. This year is really off. Like there's a lot of different, uh, storylines playing out for who could win what, and after so and so wins this many awards, this is what this means going forward, and all that stuff. But yeah, like I said, one thing we know for sure: Bohemian Rhapsody is not winning Best Picture on Sunday because it's not even nominated. So we know that's not going to repeat at the Oscars. And I don't quite see the Critics' Choice being unified enough behind Green Book to give it the win. However, and I'm going to say this here, if Green Book wins Best Picture on Sunday and already have that Globe for comedy, that's a sign that maybe we should take that one more seriously, because then I think it gets a track there, because I don't see it winning film at a Best Film at the BAFTAs. There's an argument it could win PGA. It's not going to win the SAG Ensemble Award, so we know that's not going to count. I think I'm going to stick until something else happens with Green Book for the screenplay races for the rest of the year in that original race, especially since the favorite is not nominated at the WGA Awards. So I think Green Book will have an easier win there. I made the argument there that they could go with the same 3 wins at the Globes that they did at at the Oscars too, and furthermore, where you get an acting win, a screenplay win, and a picture win, and that's what Moonlight had. You can even go back to stuff like that's what The Godfather had. There's been a lot of films, or a number of films at least, that have done that at the Oscars and at a few other award shows. So if Green Book pulls it out, and if there's enough split voting that happens between Roma, Star is Born, and maybe something else, or even just those 2 is fine, and something like Green Book comes up and wins, then we've got a even more legit race. And I have to think about it, but we've seen the last few years actually. Whoever wins Best Film at the Globes, and they have 2 chances to win your Best Picture, to name your Best Picture winner there. They have not gotten Best Picture right. I think you have to go back to 12 Years a Slave. No, they got Moonlight right. That's right. So they got it wrong last year with 3 Billboards and with Lady Bird. Neither of those won. They missed Spotlight. They gave that to The Revenant. And they missed Birdman because they gave that to Grand Budapest Hotel. So they have, other than Moonlight and Argo and 12 Years a Slave, they have been off in recent years. I think even, the Artist one. I was going to say there was one before. King's Speech lost at the Globes to Social Network. You can even go back to Avatar the year before that, won over Hurt Locker. So yeah, so the Globes do have a history of missing that Best Picture win. So I think that definitely helps the case for Star is Born going forward. So yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's that's all I've got for Critics' Choice here. Again, I think this year we're going to look at it, and when the race is all over and everything, we're going to say, well, there's going to be arguments, I think, that because you won Critics' Choice, that's another bullet in the chamber for you, to help your case. So yeah. Okay, well, that's all I got for Critics' Choice. We will be back on Sunday after the show is all over, and we'll see where I went wrong, where I went right, where we go from here, of course. So, all right, take care, everybody.